I hope you enjoyed the first part of the show. Now, for the second half with Dr. Bryant Speaks.
Okay, so that's a great segue. How easy is it for it to use? I mean, you mentioned it goes to your phone. Is it that simple? I mean, give us some insight.
Yeah, so this is my favorite thing to talk about around Cope Notes. So a lot of people say, well, where's the app? Or do I have to download a journal? Or do I have to log in online? No.
Or pay on iTunes. You gotta pay iTunes. $9.99.
The answer is no across the board. It is literally just like if I gave you my phone number and I was texting you once a day, it would be in a text thread. You're not downloading anything. You don't have to create passwords. I mean, this is just a text thread. So for all of our users, one of my favorite things is you don't even have to remember to use Cope Notes because we reach out every day. So you're not gonna have to download software, make a software update. You're not gonna have to remember to log into the app or set an alarm. These texts interrupt your life. And at any given point, you can text in that thread and just journal. It's not a real-time conversation with someone who's going to interrupt you and judge you and publish what you say with your employer or your family or anything. This is just like a physical journal that you would write in, only it's in a text thread. So it is your safe space. Picture it this way. It is a digital journal that reaches out to you every day with an opportunity to grow.
So I want to take a moment and I'm going to give you a chance to tell everybody where to go. But I want to talk about something that's on your website that I really like. It says, contrary to popular belief, it could take up to 254 consecutive days for a new habit to root. Now that's important because these things we get kind of in our own thing, and your notes guarantees the consistent interruptions. And that's great because, again, quoting your website, our brain is constantly rewiring itself based on these things. So this is important to understand because, again, on your website, you talk about how text messages boast an impressive 98% read rate. So what better way to interrupt those negative thought patterns, things that we get in our habit of having? So 80% of our daily thoughts are negative in nature, according to your website. So this is important. This is truly an impressive tool that you're providing.
I have to say this too. I know there's someone listening who might feel like their negativity is because they're a negative person. No, you have something called automatic negative thought. These are the fears and criticisms that play in the back of your brain. You're not consciously starting to think negative things. You're not going out of your way to be negative. These are playing already. That's that automatic negative thought, that 80%. And what we're here to do is interrupt those thoughts and help guide your brain towards those 20% of thoughts that are actually really healthy and positive.
Wow. So I was going to ask John, and just so being fully transparent to the audience, is that I was going to talk about pricing, but I decided I don't want to go into pricing because truly you cannot place any kind of monetary value on your health. But I will say is when you go to the website, you obviously will have some fees that support this because we're talking technology, we're talking software. And with my background, you got to do updates and you got to support, things are just not always be free. But I want to make a note that, and what I'm going to give it back to you, Johnny, to talk about is I noticed that in your plans, your pricing plans, it tends to get cheaper based on the more people who are having access to that particular account. So I was like, that took me back for a second. So explain that part.
Yeah, so when we started Cope Notes, our true north for pricing was we want a full year of support through Cope Notes to cost less than the price of a single therapy session. And that will always be our true north. A full year will cost less than 45 minutes in a discovery session with a therapist. That's our goal. But then when we started out, we just had individual subscriptions for people like you and me, and then gift subscriptions. So if I wanted to buy one for my mom or my daughter, I could do that. However, we started getting a lot of requests saying, can you support a group or can you support my whole family? So I like the idea of, before, this was not my idea, by the way. This is the idea of people who emailed in and filled out contact forms asking us to do this. So I can't take credit, but the requests were along the lines of, I think that this would have a very positive effect on my family if at the dinner table every night, we could talk about the Cope Notes text that each of us received. And you can either synchronize the text so all of you receive the same text at the same time, so you can have basically a topic to talk about as a family, or we have some families who choose a randomized text schedule, so every family member gets a different text, and then at the table they can all talk about how it affected them.
That's cool.
There's something, especially with the way the world is right now, where we are disconnected even from the people in our own homes. Even during quarantine and lockdown, we tend to close ourselves off. And what I want to reiterate about Cope Notes is this is not a tool for tech-savvy people. This is not a tool that only helps people who are really familiar with technology or people who want to spend all day on their phones. It is one interruption every day that will take 20 seconds. You spend 20 seconds on your phone every day, and that's it. So my idea is, how do we take that 20-second interaction and turn it into a 20-minute conversation with the people who are important to you?
Wow. I love the family concept, and kudos to you guys for providing that. I mean, it shows that this is not about making money. It truly is a tool that's designed to help people. So you guys should be recognized for that. That's amazing. I noticed also, so first of all, let me take a step and let me explain something to the audience. If you're interested in this, and I'm sure you are intrigued by now, understand that when I bring a guest on this show, I truly try to vet the person. I want to understand not only the tool, I want to understand the person behind the tool, but I also want to understand exactly, are they legitimate? So when you go to the website, and again, I'm going to give Johnny an opportunity to talk about where you can go to sign up. His partnership, his collaboration is pretty lengthy. I mean, we're talking about the Mental Health of America. We're talking about This Is My Brave program, Mental Health News Radio Network, USF Health, which I'm familiar with, on and on and on. So these organizations, these foundations, they've worked with him in some fashion or form. So I think you can feel very comfortable knowing that this is something that truly is effective. It has been longstanding. Feel free to research not only Johnny, but understand the tool itself before you sign up and get involved. Because again, as a guest, I'm not saying that this is something you have to do, but it is definitely something I'm providing to you to consider, because that's the purpose behind the show. So Johnny, I want to thank you. This is amazing. Give everybody a little bit more about where they can go, how to sign up. I'm betting that the moment they listen to this, you're gonna suddenly get hopefully an increase of enrollment, or else I wouldn't be doing my job. Tell us where we can go to sign up and what's surrounding the requirements.
Yeah, so a lot of people ask what they need to sign up. Do I need a smartphone? Do I need a mental health diagnosis? Do I need a doctor's note? The answer is no to everything. All you need is a phone number and a brain, is what I say. So if you go to copenotes.com, right there at the top, you will see get a subscription or give a subscription. There are two buttons. So if you want one for yourself, you can click get a subscription. If you want to give a subscription to someone, you can click give. And all of our subscription options are on there. But really, truly, I want to remind people listening that I'm doing this for people like you. It's not for your coworker. It's not for your, for the UPS delivery driver who delivered something to you. It's for people like you, for you, the person listening. And I'm well aware of how much work we do to exclude ourselves from things like this. Even when I hear a speaker about mental health, I'm a full-time mental health advocate, and I will hear a speaker and go, yeah, probably the guy next to me really needed to hear this. No, it's for you too. It's for me too. So I encourage people listening, So just go to the website. It's copenotes.com. Poke around. My TED Talk is on the About page where I talk about some of the psychology behind what we do. I encourage you to poke around, to ask friends what they think. This is not me forcing you to use something. This is me encouraging you to take a positive step towards a healthier and happier life, towards a healthier and happier brain. So whether that's Cope Notes or something I've never heard of, I want tomorrow to look better than today for you, whatever helps you get there.
And you don't feel that you have to have some sort of mental health challenge to sign up. I mean, I go on Instagram and all these different social medias, and people post positivity all the time, and just so they can read it and feel good about their day. So, this is for anybody and everybody. So this is something you may want to consider, even if you feel you're in a good place. Why not? Still consider this, and it's something you can share. Actually, that brings me to another question real quick, Johnny. Is there some sort of copyright on this? So if I was able to sign up on this and I get it, could I repost it just to share it with the world on my Facebook? Or is that something that you guys can't really allow?
So all of our content is organic. We write everything ourselves. And if we ever do have a quote from someone, it's accompanied by organic copy, and we attribute the quote. So 99.9% of our text messages are written in-house. So all of our content is copyrighted. But with that being said, we have people post screenshots of their Cope Notes conversation and tag us on social media, and they're sending it to their friends and family members and coworkers. And honestly, at the end of the day, you got to pick your battles. And if we're going to choose to battle someone who is sharing positive psychology and support with other people, we're not very good gatekeepers. So I say the more the merrier. We would only really stop someone if they started publishing what we send them every single day, I guess. We haven't been in a situation like that, but I say if something helps you and oh man, if only my aunt could read this right now with what she's going to, take a screen cap, send it to her. You never know.
Well, I'll put on my professor hat, and I'll say to them, just as I say to my students who are writing papers, make sure you cite the person. Leave the author on there. Make sure you specify Cope Notes, give credit to where credit is due, and I think you'll be okay. So let's just leave it at that. So Johnny, you mentioned TEDx. So you also have, similar to what we're doing right now, podcast show. You gave us a location where to find the website, but the person wants to research, they want to hear more about it. You really want to give us a little bit broader awareness of where they can kind of find more information about you. Talk about your podcast show.
Yeah, so the podcast, we're actually on pause at the moment because we are working on partnering with governments and agencies and organizations for CARES funding before the deadline. So we're taking a couple month break to focus on rolling out these programs with counties. Actually, we just had a big win with Orange County for 1,000 subscriptions that are going to go to the homeless community, to veterans, to teachers and students, to healthcare workers. Right now, I'm so excited. So with that being said, there might not be a new episode for a little while because we're focusing on that initiative, but we have around 40 published episodes right now. The show is called The Cope Notes Podcast, easy to remember. And the point of the podcast was to purposely try to have conversations that have to do with mental health, but not with people who already have a voice about mental health in the first place. So we're not interviewing clinicians, we're not interviewing authors, we're interviewing nannies and janitors and people in metal bands and graphic designers and barbers and photographers and people who are everyday people. You pull up to a stoplight and one of those people is on your left, one of those people is on your right, and you're the third one. We purposely want to help normalize these conversations, talking about how people cope with stress and pressure and anxiety and frustration in whatever their line of work is, in whatever part of the country they live in, or with their family. And it's been a lot of fun. We have interviewed some really interesting characters for sure.
Yeah, on your website, for the audience to know, he has a tab there. It's podcast, and there's a listing of all the shows. I believe you can actually subscribe. So feel free to go there. He identifies his podcast platforms similar to my own show. So you can also download when you already heard my show, go ahead and type in Coke Notes and you can listen to Johnny. So apparently we're all in the same area and audience, and we can two birds with one stone.
Oh yeah.
All right. This is amazing. Johnny, I want to thank you. We met and we hit it off. This has been an amazing show. I want to thank you for joining me. Do you have any final words for the audience you want to send them off with?
Yeah, I want to say one last thing, and I want to kind of dispel a myth that I've heard recently, specifically after I've given my TEDx talk. I've gotten some messages that kind of, I think, missed the mark a little bit, so I just want to make a clarification. I am no different from anybody listening to this right now. I am not smarter. I am not tougher. I am not more creative. I am literally exactly the same as you. I have all the same limitations. I'm bad at all the same stuff that you're bad at. We are twins. So please, when you hear people sharing their stories about recovery and about climbing out of these dark depressions, know that it's not because they're smarter than you or because they're better than you. We are the same. So please don't disqualify yourself from growing happier and healthier. Even if right now you listen to this and you say, I'm a 10 out of 10 on the health and happiness scale, you can be an 11, and I want to see you get there, and I want to celebrate with you.
Well, I'm not going to follow that up. So I'm just going to, I'm going to leave that as it is. All right, Johnny, thanks a lot. Again, I appreciate it. We'll stay in touch. When we provide on our YouTube page, you will have links that's going to support Coke Notes for you to go to, click on, get more information. I'm going to put as much as that Johnny gives me to put on there. Again, I'm glad you were here, Johnny. This was an amazing conversation. Thank you. That is our show. To all my audience listening everywhere around the world, thank you so much. To all my veterans and families out there, be blessed and know that I am speaking to you. But more importantly, someone is always listening, and that someone is not just me. That's our show, Dr. Bryant Speaks. I'm Dr. Bryant, your host. Everybody be blessed.